what's up, guys? How you doing? Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Professor Red Pill. I've got Swend in the studio today. Live chat's up, so anybody that wants to make comments, we'll move forward with that. Audio good there on Swend? You can hear everything? We
Yes,
good?
everything sounds good.
All right, and we're definitely live. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about currently, I guess, Trump just announced like a peace summit, invited the president, head of state for Belarus, and I guess he attended. And there's also I guess we had a huge snowstorm, Moscow, Georgia, where I'm at, in Caucasus and Tbilisi, and throughout Europe right now, and there's just snow everywhere, and it's a big issue. They declared a state of emergency in Georgia, I guess 2 or 3 days ago, due to it. And Moscow also, I think, has a state of emergency, in as well, Russia, and then Europe as well, in Germany. You guys could probably see all the pictures and stuff that's been submitted on the. I believe we put it on the Telegram channel. And then we're going to talk about gold and silver and my predictions. Basically, if you guys followed me from the first podcast of the new year, we had a New Year's podcast that I gave my predictions of what 2026 would bring, and I said in the first quarter of 2026 we would see gold hit. We would see it hit at least 4,500 by the end of January, and we would see silver hit $1 an ounce by the end of the first quarter. As of today, January 22nd, 2026, gold is trading close to 5,000. And silver hit $95 an ounce. So I knocked that one right out of the park. And it's just going to go up from there. Yeah, that's about it. So, yeah, Swen, what's up, bro? What you got? Anything you want to add as well to our introduction?
Well,
What?
those are the topics that we're going to talk about. You mentioned
Mm.
about silver. Is there like a reason why? What do you think are the primary drivers as to this price going up and up and up?
Um, Basically, what I broke down like the first podcast of the 2026 new year is this is headed by AI bubble that we talked about over several years now. We've had multiple podcasts on this. Those podcasts actually saw a significant amount of views, and basically part of it is also China. The conflict in South America with we went over. Trump sent, I guess he sent military personnel to collect the head of state and Venezuela. So a lot of silver, I guess, had they confiscated silver mines, and we broke all this stuff down. But a lot of it's technology, AI, military applications, because Europe, America, Russia, and China are now building up military assets. China is also accumulating a lot of gold. They've been accumulating gold over the last 2 or 3 years with the trade trade wars and also the tariffs that Trump introduced. I said all this was going to happen. Um, I didn't expect silver to hit $100 an ounce by 2026 first quarter. 2 years ago, I was expecting it to probably hit 50, which it did. But gold was the main one that I was the main driver that I was like, yeah, I was going to hit probably 5,000 by obviously collapse 2025. This is the result of collapse 2025, by the way, guys. That's the fiat currencies that are basically nosediving as a result of trade tariffs, global economic crises, the wars, trade wars, tariffs, you name it. This is all a result of collapse 2025, hashtag collapse 2025. And yeah, this is all the result of that. But a lot of it's technology driven, scarcity, um, and basically fear of missing out, as well as like economic panic and things of that nature. These are all the results of such things. You're clicking a lot going on down there, Swin. What are you doing, man? You playing video games?
No, no, no. Just setting up a chart. That's for another project. Don't worry too much about that. But yeah, so that is true. It's too much. It's too much chaos, and the inflation just continues to go up because well, they have all of this debt that they have to pay, as I understand, the
Mm.
U.S. government, and they don't want to miss out on those payments because if they do, it's gonna like show itself is very unreliable, and it's gonna fuck them up severely when it comes to like their credibility. So they just print more money to pay those debts endlessly, as far I understand. As far as I understand.
Yeah, I mean, basically the way the United States, because the United States has the petrodollar. Gonzalo Lear talked about. He did actually a good video on it about the petrodollar with Saudi Arabia and the deal with OPEC and how originally was financed. But more importantly, the U.S. dollar is the reserve currency. Has been this way since post World War II. America was a creditor nation then, and they took advantage of this during the Vietnam conflict, the Apollo moon missions, a lot of expenditures and spending and borrowing and things of that nature. So this has all led to the fiat crisis that we're dealing with, especially the current over the last 3 or 4 administrations, where they just kept spending money to infinity and beyond. We talked about this with Lupiter, shit, probably 2 years ago. Those videos, like I said, they're all on locals. If you want to subscribe to locals, use promo code Rumble3, gets $3 off your first month's membership, and all that stuff is archived on the locals channel. If it's not on, it's obviously not on YouTube, but it might be on Rumble. But those that are following us on Rumble, but it's all definitely on the locals channel. It's been archived. Anyway, Lupiter, we were making a big joke about the fact, like Trump, that he outspent um, all previous administrations. Then Biden came in, and he outspent Trump's administration. And then Lupiter's joke is like Trump's going to outspend himself, which means he's going to outspend himself from his previous administration, which he currently is on trajectory to do at this point. And that's basically what it is since the Bush administration was executive order after executive order, and they kept outpacing each other with executive orders. And this is the reason why that is because Congress is not able to do anything. They can't agree to anything. They can't get legislation passed. So Bush took it upon himself through a loophole that Cheney had found, that basically you could pass legislation through executive order, and then that followed suit from administrations thereon. Now, with executive orders, Congress and the Constitution in America is the purse, is what they refer to it as. So when Congress passes a law, think of a law passage as money. So they have to appropriate a certain amount of assets and money from Treasury in order to fund those laws that are passed in the legislature and in the Congress. So what the executive order does is the executive order is a passage of law. So therefore, every pen stroke that each president has passed forth over the last 4 administrations, 5 administrations, each pen stroke is money being. It's like a cash register going cha-ching, cha-ching. It just they sign their name and the money's just flowing. So that money has to be appropriated and funded for those executive orders, and that's basically all it is America is a land of laws, and each law that gets passed is costing money. That's basically simply a best way to describe it. Now, what America does do is it consolidates a lot of this debt, and how it consolidates it is through the U.S. Treasury bonds and trade deals, and also the U.S. is a reserve currency. So they consolidate it through, basically, we're going to give you money, or we're going to issue trade, we're going to issue a treasury bond, and then we're going to use that to pay off debt and things of that nature. And now they're just, under the current administration, Trump administration, they went from that to, now we're just going to go ahead and just take land, we're going to take assets, we're going to take property, we're going to invade Greenland, Venezuela, wherever. And he's blunt and saying, look, we're imperialists now. So instead of using the traditional method of fiat currency, reserve currency, the petrodollar, and U.S. Treasury bonds, we're now just going to plain and simply just take the land and take the resources for our own ends. And that's where we're at right now. Now, this is basically the reason why gold, silver is skyrocketing. This is not the main reason, but a good culprit to it is the fact that a lot of these central banks throughout the entire planet, China, Russia, the United States, and even smaller central banks, they are accumulating as much gold as they can, because gold is obviously, and I'm not like preaching gold as like the a secure currency, and it's the all this stuff that you hear from the gold bug guys. But basically, central banks, they use the gold as a reserve to cover debts and to cover currencies and their expenditures. So through accumulating this gold, it generally makes them sovereign, or makes them what's the word? Not solvent. What's the word I'm looking for? It makes them whole. So it gives them a level of autonomy to conduct their financial expenditures and trade and things of that nature. So they're basically replacing the U.S. dollar, the U.S. petrodollar, with gold as a currency. That's what we're seeing right now, and that's why it's skyrocketing. Now, as far as silver is concerned, it's 100% driven by AI, tech, and military applications. So a lot of the AI bubble, a lot of the technology expenditures, mostly energy. So like Europe is big on solar panels and renewable energies, the Green New Deal. This is all encompassing the reason why silver is skyrocketing. That's a main culprit, I would say.
because of the components.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. The components are all silver based. So that's part of the reason, and that's the main culprit, I'd say, to why silver is skyrocketing. Now there's a scarcity. They had scarcity like that's been accumulating over time. Silver goes through a huge process to mine. Gold, you just basically pluck it out of the ground, out of a stream. You can knock it out of a gold mine, and it's just there. You don't really have to process it, that much. But like silver, it's all encompassed in a bunch of ore and rock and a bunch of debris and different stuff. So you have to tumble this down. You have to knock all this stuff down, blast it, whatever, chip away at it. And then it has to go through a chemical process, and then it has to be processed and resourced, and then they extract the silver. So it takes a long time to extract it, and that's the reason why silver mining is not a very lucrative business in this regard, because the amount of silver that you extract from the amount of manpower and resources to extract it through that process is it just doesn't really make sense. But at a larger scale mining facility or a larger scale operation, it does make sense, when you start doing all this, because there's other elements that you can pull out of the mining as well. And like I said, I'm speaking from expert knowledge. I was a professor at the Saudi Arabian Polytech in Saudi Arabia, for Manhattan, which is a large mining company in Saudi Arabia, obviously. So I did pick up a lot of stuff while I was teaching at the Polytech. Um, I digress. I'm getting to the point. Basically, now silver is because of the silver scarcity and the accumulation for these different applications. Silver is now becoming a very prized commodity, and now you will see countries that have large silver deposits become a target for, obviously, imperialization. So those countries, I think I did bring them up. I had them posted in the. I'll bring them up again. So we'll take a look at this. Let me get an image. There we
For
go. I
sure.
have this is an image that I had pulled up before for a previous. I'm gonna pull this out here. Let me get share screen. Where am I at? There it is. So as you can see here, this is where all the silver mines are accumulated. These are the biggest silver mines in the world. And this data point is from Visual Capital. This is a really good source. It's from S&P Capital IQ, the Silver
Are you sharing
Institute.
it? Because I can't see it.
Yeah, let me do presentation. I had it on auto, but we're here. Sorry, thanks,
Right.
brother. Yeah, so this is the silver deposits throughout the world. This is the top largest undeveloped silver deposits. And as you can see, and I showed this slide before in a previous podcast, but you can see here, where are all of the silver mines located in the Western Hemisphere right now? Swin.
It's in South America.
South and Central America. There's literally none in America at all. The United States. They're
Yeah.
all located in South America and Central America. Now, where are the rest of the silver mines located in the Eastern Hemisphere?
In Russia and China.
Yeah, Russia, China, Europe, and Oceanic or Australia.
Yeah.
Now, does this kind of give you a good visual of why Trump's agenda now is to go after South American, Central American countries, either do trade, tariffs, or military incursion? Does that really paint a good visual for you guys?
It's the continuation of the grift, man. But the
Yeah.
biggest grift in all of human history. All you have here is just a furnace. It's a big furnace, and the furnace needs fuel to continue burning. And if it doesn't get fuel, like it fucks everyone up,
Hmm.
in the sense of like inflation and whatnot. Like we get like cold inflation. But in this
Right.
case, right, he is saying, well, fuck it. We're going to throw everything in the furnace, no matter what. So
Yeah.
it's this excursion worldwide to uh, try to keep the machine going by doing all of this capital appropriation, asset appropriation.
I mean, when I'm looking at this map here, what I see, like I said before, is the fact that Central America has the largest silver deposits in the world, and South America has significantly, equally large, significant amounts of it. Um, it's not rocket science, and like I said, I think Trump has pretty much said, like, dude, you guys can, basically people can go on the internet and they can research and find this data point that I'm showing to you guys right now. He's basically saying it's not rocket science. We're going into these countries. We're trying to influence and we're trying to take control of assets, commodities based. I had talked about trends in 2025 in regards to this. From 2025, I was saying that commodities will be a very significant and important factor in geopolitics going into 2026, and that's what we're seeing now. That's why he went into Venezuela. Venezuela is another slide that I talked about with oil. Now, what do you need in order to extract? One second, go back to here. What exactly do you need to extract resources, to extract commodities such as silver and gold? What is the number one thing you need?
Land.
You need energy. Land is where
That
the,
too.
the, the resources are, but you need energy. You need oil and you need gas, petrol,
Yes. Yes.
and that's the main culprit. So the petrol is already in South America. It's already there in Venezuela, and they have a silver mine already established in Venezuela. There's huge silver mines in Mexico. Mexico has its own energy. They have their own gas. They have actually a lot of oil and gas, from what I understand.
Yeah,
It's very
it's like in
significant.
any countries here that have a deficiency in oil, like this is the thing, right? They're building huge highways and huge railways in my country, in Peru, and they want to use this as a central hub for distribution. That is to say, if you really think about it, with all of the things that you're mentioning, it looks like a perfect extraction network for transportation of raw
Mhm.
materials.
Right.
Um, because if there's any deficiency in oil in any of the South American countries, they can supplement it from the Venezuelan oil. And well, we need like oil for the mining operations in Bolivia. We need oil for the mining operations here and there. They can just um, funnel that oil from Venezuela to keep the engine of extraction throughout the whole of South America because of how much oil they have.
Yeah, this. I mean, if you go back to was it during Bush era? This is 2005, 2008. There was a lot of chatter on the conspiracy forums that basically they were going to create this united. What is it? What would we call it? They were going to merge North and South America into one, and they were going to use a central currency called the euro or the Amero.
Mm-hmm.
The North American Union is what I think they were going to call it. And this basically, it never came to fruition. It was just basically a conspiracy theory. But now that rehashing to this 20 years later, now people are talking about that this might be a possibility, a merger of Canada, United States, Mexico, and South America into a new trade union, like the European Union, but like an American Union, American Empire, if you will. And as you said, like they're building a lot of infrastructure, but who built a lot of that infrastructure, by the way?
It's Chinese, Canadian, American, and French companies.
Yeah, so I mean, it's obviously being paid for by a lot of foreign developers, and a lot of these countries America owes money to. So it could be possible that they made some type of trade agreement that America would go in and process and develop these lands. But I don't know. There's not enough data or information on this at this point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up some other key points here. Um, yeah, so basically the top priority for Trump, why South America is why he's so interested in South America. Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador, Peru are major sources of migrants. That's part of the reason. There's the Panama Colombia mass migration corridor. That was the issue we saw before with China and with the Panama Canal, where China was, I guess, controlling it, and Trump was like, "Hey, we need to control this because this is important for migration as well as trade." And Trump's core message, like I said, is stopping migration at the source, not just at the U.S. border. So that's one of the main things. The other thing is I talked about this before in previous podcasts as well for several years now. Countering China's expansion. So China has basically been quietly building, buying influence across South America, infrastructure, ports, roads, rails, lithium, copper, oil, and telecoms. So this is like surveillance tech. High, am I pronouncing Howie? How do you pronounce that? Their infrastructure, their digital infrastructure. It's
Huawei.
Huawei. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main reasons you pointed that out, and you're seeing it in real time in Peru, where China's come in and they've started building infrastructure ports to develop for resources. This is the zero sum game. Like I said, China is these are regional empires. So China is a regional empire. Russia's a regional empire. The United States is a global empire, but China is trying to emerge as a global empire. And I said this, we would see this in 2025 to 26, that China, we would start seeing China show, hey, we are an empire as well. We're trying to gain power and influence in the world. And basically, Trump is pointed out and saying, hey, China's is trying to become a global player, and we need to stop them in their tracks. We haven't seen this since pre World War II, and this is with Japan and Germany, and the reason for that particular conflict. So the same things that we're seeing right now are the same things that we saw pre World War II. Regional conflicts, border clashes, gold accumulation, commodities accumulation, primarily oil, silver, copper, so forth, and this led up to trade wars, tariffs, embargoes, and then eventually countries started declaring war on each other, basically. We're not at that level yet, but we have started to see a little bit of that with the Chinese, or sorry, with the Indian Pakistan conflict, Syria, Israel, Palestine, and Russia, Ukraine. And these are still very regional and micro compared to the scale of World War II. So I don't know where it's going to go. I'm not saying that we're headed towards World War III. Some influencers, some academics are saying we're already in World War III or we're headed to World War III. I don't think we're there yet. I really don't think we're there yet. I think that we're headed towards it if this continues to escalate, and the trades and all the stuff that Trump's doing in China and Russia and all these other countries are starting to do. That's kind of
Well,
the reason
look,
why I
like there
think.
was like
Go
a
ahead.
big act of war that was perpetrated recently. As far as I understand, right, a lot of that oil that was coming out of Venezuela, which like Trump said, like no oil is getting out of Venezuela without my approval. A lot of that oil was going to China, and it was like a huge amount, like millions of barrels of oil to China, and it was collateral. Not necessarily collateral. It was like their payment. They had done a deal with China in which they will lend them money for infrastructure development, and Venezuela will pay in oil instead of paying with cash. And that was going on. But now China can't get that money anymore.
Yeah, I mean they pretty much stopped them in their tracks. I mean, it's the thing is this is anything new. I mean, it's literally I predicted it. I said this was going to happen. I said it was going to happen towards the end of 2025 if Trump was elected, which I was predicting he would be elected by an overwhelming victory, and we would see this more of the same. Everything that I pretty much told you guys was going to happen has already happened, or happening in real time. Um, I don't know. I honestly think that Trump called this peace summit for the main reason because of the escalation. So he's trying to cool things down. And my guess is he's trying to build stronger ties with international trade
He asked
and
for 1 billion membership. Like if you want to be a member, you have to pay $1 billion.
do you think it could be a grift?
I'm not sure, dude. Like there are like several countries that said sign me in right now. It looks like they're trying. He's trying to bypass the United Nations, and he's just like trying to make like the whole American United Nations. Yeah,
Honestly,
many countries have
I
been invited. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I just think that Trump is trying to settle everything down and get back into global trade, back to this America. But the thing is, it goes back to the Monroe Doctrine and like what people talk about with America's legitimacy and global power infrastructure. You're going to see, like I said, in 2026, you're going to see the full power of the American government on a global scale. You're going to see it. You're seeing it in real time. It's only going to get bigger and more crazy.
We're
Billy
most
Watts
likely going to
says,
annex. We're most likely going to annex Greenland this year.
"Oh no, I said that's going to happen. I said that's going to happen this year. You're going to see an annexation of Greenland. Um, that's a gimme. That's going to happen." So, so Billy Watts says, "You could be a member without paying 1 billion U.S. dollars, but then you will be only 3 years. Your membership is only limited to 3 years." Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a big grift or anything, but I think that I think Trump is basically he's in the process of trying to treat geopolitics, global democracy as like basically a business, like mergers and acquisitions, where he's treating it like he's the CEO of America. And like even Mad Max and I talked about this, how America became a corporation after the 14th Amendment, after ratification of the 14th Amendment. It incorporated the United States, and America's been a corporation ever since post Civil War. So
Yeah.
now it's actually like legitimately, it's like, yeah, America's an empire. Like it's an empire and it's a corporation. So he's like, hey, I'm going to start my own trade union, and you can be a member by signing up to this pyramid scheme like Amway. It's like you can get an exclusive membership for this fee, and then we're gonna, and then there's different levels of the membership. So it is what it is. I mean, we're getting, like I said, we're getting crazy in uncharted waters at this point. I think partially Trump is trying to avoid a World War III type conflict, but also at the same time demonstrate the power and scope of the American empire, or the American corporation, as we call it. This is where it's going, I think. What do you think, Swin? Any points?
I just think that nobody really wants war because
Nobody.
it's like
No.
so much money is going to be lost. It's just like um, the last resource. If there is no other way to secure the assets that they want to secure, to enact the plans that they want to enact, then war is the only option. And this usually happens when somebody imposes their sovereignty directly directly in front of their goals and aims. That is to say, I want to accomplish A, B, and C, but my adversary stands right in front of me and doesn't let me do it. That's a point of collision.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I don't think anybody really wants to go fight in a conflict. So this is like they can't even get soldiers to go to war. Most people don't want to go to war. I mean, we see this in the Ukraine conflict, where a lot of Ukrainian men have tried to flee the country at the beginning of the conflict. They passed Zelensky passed legislation where where men were not allowed to leave a military age, and only women were able to flee, refugee out of Ukraine. And he's doubled down on that as well with the what was it called, conscription. So Russia, people are allowed to leave. So there's a lot of, like in Georgia where I'm at right now, there's still a lot of Russian men, military age men living here, that fled during the beginning of the conflict. Most of them went back, but they at least were allowed to leave. I think because Russia had more than enough military personnel. But like I said, nobody wants to fight these wars. They don't want to fight the global homo agenda wars, and I mean that's about it. Billy Watts also says, because we're still on this topic with the peace summit. So he says basically this peace summit is like a Hustlers University U.S. version. Yeah, kind of like Andrew Tate, our buddy. And then he's treating the world politics like a Discord server. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think honestly, I think Trump is definitely, because we have this influence of social media and like this like digital gilded age type situation, and I think Trump is definitely treating he's treating global politics and trade as if he were like in a corporation, like in mergers and acquisitions, takeovers, things of that nature. We'll see how it works. I do know that I just don't think the countries have the manpower, let alone the capacity to be able to go to full scale war like we had in World War II. The
That's why they're
geopolitics has
betting
changed.
so much on like the drone industry, dude. Like all
Yeah.
of these robots. Have you seen like the soldier robots from China?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
China's
like
definitely going that way. China's definitely going that way. Yeah,
they want to replace a lot of this like encounters or like that is to say like there is a point in military fighting like in the battlefield where you can have decisive victory once you have overwhelmed the forces of the enemy to the point that they can't they can no longer fight and hold the position anymore. Then that's a win. So this like securing of lands, they want drones, they want autonomous drones to be able to secure uh, military superiority over certain areas. And so it's just like if you have enough drone presence and you deploy like local lasers are very
yeah.
important. People really don't understand like how or like
Lasers.
they don't realize how important lasers are because
Mhm.
laser technology has had a substantial development in the past 5 to 10 years, where the efficiency of the diodes, the efficiency of the energy that is put in, like 100 watts, now it's converting more efficiently into light energy. And this has very important implications because it basically means like companies like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin are developing systems which you can mount on a truck. You can mount this system on like a small truck, and inside it has like lithium batteries, like very big lithium batteries in it, and it's connected to a laser. And it's like a 10 kilowatt, 30 kilowatt, 40 kilowatt laser, and it can like shoot down drones. But if you have a little bit of a bigger power plant, you can basically protect the whole island, like Hawaii. That is to say, Pearl Harbor. It can be fitted out with lasers, and like there is nothing that you can do. Throw a missile at it, the laser will destroy the missile earlier. Throw a drone, throw anything, and the laser will destroy it. There is nothing you can do to stop a laser unless you like drop like a purely kinetic piece of metal that doesn't have a warhead. But yeah,
I mean, I just don't see. I don't see World War III being. It's not a profitable. Um, it's just not there. I
like it
mean, the
doesn't
thing
have to
is
be so dramatic as before. Now it can just be a mass deployment of robots.
yeah.
So and so have secured control, decisive control over Taiwan. And now
Yeah.
for you to take it back, it's like you have to fight against all of these drones. Think about it. It's no longer the same. You try to put
I
all
mean,
of these ships in the ocean, all of these ships in the ocean trying to bring men to take over control of there. And how are you going to deploy 100,000 men when there is 3 million suicide drones trying to kill you all?
you're not wrong. We did see excessive drone use, and we're still seeing it today in Ukraine and Russia with that conflict. It's been a heavy, high tech drone cyber warfare. And like I said, this is the modern warfare that we were predicting and that we're seeing. Um, the thing is that the United States and Europe and China have some very advanced military tech, and this is again why we're talking about where we started with silver and gold. Why silver prices are skyrocketing? Because what are these drones? What do these drones use? What did this technology use? The processors. They're using a lot of silver. So because the military industrial complex buildup for potential World War III, which we're not in, and I don't think we're headed in currently, this is what's causing the spike in silver prices. Billy Watts says, with drones, they can even control forests so that there is no escape for Prison Planet. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, of course. The thing is that the technology, like I said, if there was a World War III scenario, and even Einstein even talked about this as well. I mean, I remember in the '90s we were talking about World War III, what it would be like. It was in. I remember reading it in Encyclopedia Britannica that they said a World War III scenario would be using digital, like high tech warfare tactics. And a lot of the movies or cinema or, like, literature that has been published over the last 30, 40 years since the Cold War, has basically pointed to this as well. We can go back to Terminator 2 with Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Cameron, with Skynet. This stuff is real. I mean, it does exist. There is a lot of push towards it with AI and different types of tech. It's very possible, but again, I don't think it's going to get at the scale of like World War II. I don't see it
No,
like.
he's like saying like they're gonna be using like this guy Bill Watts. He
Mhm.
says they're gonna be using like um infrared cameras mounted on drones to identify the shape of a human. So you have two options here. You either like never come to the surface again, or you and your buddy get like a deer costume, and you both like dress like a deer, and you try to like basically make the drone believe that you're like a wild animal. Do you have either that, or you go to
No,
like a cave? You go to a cave and you try to
no,
live in the cave. And yeah, it's like all of these hit signatures. It depends how much neurotic they're gonna go. It depends like how much neurotic control they want to assert in the whole surface of the world. Like they're gonna go out of their way to hunt down people in the wilderness who don't want to submit to the prison planet, who don't want to be slaves.
yeah.
Then
I
they
mean,
might. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, this is like going back to like Vietnam conflict where they were using bunkers and tunnels to subvert USGIs, the military, and they would find the smallest guy, the tiniest guy in the platoon, to when they found these holes or these like little, like, bunkers, and they would send them in with a flashlight and 9 millimeter to check out and flush them out, and then yeah, I mean, we will see that type, because like right now Ukraine's kind of trench warfare, and we're seeing with the drones how they're easily taking out tanks, and they've come up with tank anti drone measures for the tanks, and then they're putting anti drone measures for um, excuse me, for the trenches rather. So they've got mesh and they've got stuff in there to camouflage these particular war zones. That's what we're going to see more of the same. So I don't know if we're going to see necessarily trench warfare, but we will see, and maybe they've already started developing underground tunnels. A lot of conspiracy theorists talk about the underground tunnels where they're funneling UFOs and stuff through. And we're not going to talk about this on the podcast. We talk about this in locals, but I mean, I do know in Hawaii that you brought it up. They do have underground hangars from
Yeah.
World War II that they built, and that's Snowden apparently worked at a facility that was an old hangar from World War II that they actually that's where a lot of the military cyber warfare is located, and it's not just there, but Utah and other places as
Oh,
well.
it's not only that. Like, look at this, right? You could look this up. I could look it up as well. Give me a second. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, it's basically like Oracle. Do you know the company Oracle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Oracle, which like is in charge of internet communications and like networking infrastructure, they have built a $9 billion bunker in Jerusalem for
Yeah.
the cyber warfare unit of
Mm-hmm.
the IDF. And this center is like this command center is authorized to take life and death decisions. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
9 stories. So, sorry, I'm not sure if it's 9 billion. It might be 300 million, but it has 9 stories deep. It's like 9 stories of building underground.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of places like even up in Greenland and Norway, they have bunkers that are built into mountains and stuff. I think in Norway they have a seeding bunker where they put plants and seedings in case if there's a major disaster, so that they can. I mean, it is what it is. But this stuff exists. It's real. It's not like it's fake. It's not a conspiracy. But how far is it going to go? I don't know. At the end of the day, like we talked about before, the saying that I always bring up, it's just business, bro. And the military industrial complex at the end of the day is a multi-trillion-dollar industry globally, and it's all about can we make a profit from it. So wars since end of World War II have always been, even in World War II, you can always say they were bankers' wars. Is there profitability from it? And that's what I mean. The technology and the other thing too is with these global wars, and I wrote many papers on this as well as in my PhD studies. That generally innovation, because that's what my expertise is in. My master's and my PhD is in innovation. We see that during innovation grows rapidly um, during industrial capacity, during wars and major conflicts and crises for a reason. Because there is a need and there is an urgency to create a solution to a very complex or serious problem. And that's where we see our most technological advances is during wartime economies. And that's where we're kind of headed to right now is a type of wartime economy. Russia's in a wartime economy. We saw a wartime economy during COVID, and we saw a lot of technological advances during COVID as a result of those measures that were in place. I wrote many papers on that as well. Um, yeah, I mean, unless you want to add anything else on this, I think mostly if there is any type of major conflict or like World War III type scenario, it will be high tech, it will be drone based, it will be cyber. Definitely, they're preparing for it. But I think I've said this many times. I think we're 10 years out from any type of major conflict in this regard. It'll definitely come as a post digital Gilded Age bust or AI bust or bubble, and it won't be anything in the short term. It's going to take time to build these systems up and develop everything for that particular type of conflict. I don't think we're at that level yet.
It's called Arsenal. Like it's an Arsenal build up, and we are in the biggest Arsenal build up period since World War II.
Since World War II and Cold War, yeah. I think we're in a Cold War currently. Like maybe if you were to say we are technically in World War III, we are in a Cold War, World War III, but we're not an actual World War III major conflict like we saw in World War II. We're headed that way, but I like definitely think we're 5 to 10 years out max, or minimum. Um, yeah. So getting back to the peace summit that Trump just initiated, and I guess he's going to do this annually. So this is a new executive order that I guess he went through. Like I said, we talked about the executive orders in previous administrations. So deal maker branding, core identity. Trump's political brand is "I make deals when others fail." Quotations. So a peace summit lets him basically say that I end wars without endless spending. I talk to people no one else could. Diplomacy over forever wars. That's his agenda. So that's what I'm saying. I just don't see we're heading into a World War III scenario. I think we're headed into a technological, a post digital Gilded Age, third industrial revolution into a fourth industrial revolution, AI bubble bust to an eventual Skynet type development and innovation. As a futurist and as an expert in innovation, I think that's where we're headed. The other issue here with the summit is basically, or the agenda is war fatigue in the West. So the U.S. and Europe voters are tired of Ukraine war cost, Middle East instability, inflation linked to energy and conflict. Energy is relatively stable right now. I think it's trading around, the oil is trading around $50 to $60 a barrel, which I said that's where it would stay at the end of 2025. Spot on. Gave you the timeline. I think we're going to continue to see oil prices stabilize through 2026, probably around that range between 40 to 60, maybe $65 a barrel, depending on what's going on with the big freeze that we're dealing with right now in Europe, and Western Asia. We're going to get into that in a minute, but basically, I think that's where we're headed with there. So the peace push signals basically lower military spending, lower energy prices, and economic stability. Um, I think lower military spending in regards to military industrial personnel, big militaries, where we talked about this. They're probably going more towards commercial, big industrial complex. So basically, big tech, AI invested in that. We've seen that with China and Russia and other countries where they're starting to invest more into AI and computers. And this is again why the silver prices are skyrocketing. Will continue to skyrocket. Not financial advice, but it's headed to that trajectory. 150 $200 an ounce by the end of 2026. You could probably hold me to that. So in a year, we'll be pretty close to that, most likely. So there's leverage through unpredictability. So Trump is using uncertainty as a weapon. So he's signaling peace summit by saying he may cut funding, he may lift or crush sanctions, he might recognize territorial changes, and this is one of the trends that I talked about from 2024 into 2025. That by the end of hashtag collapse 2020 collapse 2025, we would see a lot of changes geographically in the world. I said that we would start seeing in a Trump presidency early on, we would see a lot of territorial changes being Karabakh, Georgia, South America, Greenland, Canada, Palestine, Syria, Russia, Ukraine, these areas, and they would continue to escalate. And this is basically what the trajectory that I was saying with this from 2024 podcast series is that by 2025 you would start seeing regional empires like Russia, like China, global empires like the United States, basically push towards extracting and obtaining territorial integrity by grabbing these, basically states that don't have standing militaries, they don't have much political influence, and just gain in control. Because that's the build up to a World War III. Territorial changes. Next is weakening the military industrial status quo. Trump openly challenges NATO. Um, endless arms shipments, permanent conflict models. This was a thing in the past from previous administrations, from like the Bush administrations with Halliburton and these different Middle Eastern conflicts. It was very profitable. The military industrial complex at that point was the privatization of military during the Bush eras. And I think we're past that point now. This is like Wagner Group. This is like Blackwater, and all these different things. We're past that. So now we're headed towards, like I said, multi corporationism or multinationalism, and it's no longer profitable for these type of companies like Apple, like Google, like Meta. Like BlackRock. These type of companies, it's no longer profitable to be funding forever conflicts or permanent conflicts. They want them small, and they want them manageable, to where there's a high return of investment to initial, staging. So the peace
Yeah,
summit threatens defense contractors, like I said, war driven budgets, bureaucratic foreign policy inertia. These are all there. The other thing is the positioning against Biden and the establishment politics. This is like we talked about with in previous podcasts about what it was the word I'm looking for. The global homo agenda is what we call it, I guess. So this is establishment, like war drags on, Trump war ends, establishment spending billions, Trump making deals, establishment chaos, Trump control. So this is what I said would happen under our Trump administration, that we would see full throttle by midterm elections, which is this year, by the way. Strategic timing. This is like peace summits that often appear when wars hit stalemate, funding support weakens, and allies fracture. And this is what we're seeing in the Ukraine conflict. And this is very noticeable with Belarus, with the head of state deciding to join the summit. This is a result of these fracturing and these, people sitting, leaving sides and alliances, so to speak. So just pay attention. Like I said, Georgia, keep an eye on Georgia, keep an eye on Belarus, keep an eye on Baltic states, and definitely keep an eye on Southeast Asia, because you might be seeing some interesting stuff going on there. So basically, the real goal here is the summit isn't about harmony. It's basically about reasserting U.S. dominance. Like I said, the American agenda, or the Monroe Doctrine, American empire and influence and scope and scale. But more importantly, America as a corporation, as a multinational corporation, i.e., reducing cost, locking in narrative wins, and forcing allies and enemies to align with U.S. terms. That's where we're headed. It's the art of the steal. I mean, the art of the deal. And that's all I've got to say on that. Anything else you want to add, Swin, before we move on to Europe and the big freeze?
Let's move on to the big freeze. I want to talk about that.
Yeah. So currently, what's going on with the big freeze is, like I said, there's an unseasonably large amount of snow, and we're in freezing temperatures right now. This is the first time, like, I've been in Tbilisi off and on, going on almost 17 years now. This is the first time I've actually seen snow accumulate in the city, in the capital. Over 3 days it snowed, and I have never seen. Usually the snow melts the next day or the next couple of days, but it's sticking, and it's the snow is still sitting out there packed, and there's no crews to literally, like, there's no shoveling to get the streets cleaned. There's no plows, and they declared a state of emergency at the time. So I think this is the direct result of just how overwhelming this is and how unprecedented this amount of snowfall is. And in Europe is having the same issues in Germany. Um, Basically, um, this is headed towards a gas shortage issue, and this is ongoing since the conflict with Russia and Ukraine. We know what the what was it, this Nord Stream pipeline that was shut down a result of embargoes, and I guess apparently it's come out that America blew it up during the Biden
There's also something
administration.
to be said about volume. That is to say, all of the machinery that is used to remove snow removes a daily volume of snow. But if
Mhm.
the snow volume being deposited via natural processes is higher than the volume which can be removed by the machinery, then you have an inhabilitation of public spaces and like businesses in general. It's just gonna
Yeah,
fuck everything up.
it's affecting commerce. This is one of the main issues that I'm getting from our contacts in Europe, from the main channel, the Telegram channel. Links in the description. Um, yeah, this is one thing that they're pointing out in Europe, and it's what I'm seeing here in Georgia right now, is that, like, I have people that are stuck outside, just outside the city. It's not like outside the capital, not even like 30 minutes outside the capital. They are stuck. They can't leave because they need plows to plow, and there's not enough plows to plow. It's been 2 or 3 days since the snow accumulated. It hasn't snowed in like the last 2 or 3 days, and they're still stuck. So they have to leave their car, and they have to, like, basically take a other transport to get
Best they
back to
can
the
do.
capital.
Best they can do
Yeah.
is pray that they don't get another one like this.
Yeah, and this has happened. This is twice in the last 2 years. So this has happened again last year, and it was an even worse state of emergency. This is Western Georgia. If you guys go Google or time machine it, you will see the accumulation of snow that impacted Georgia in the west, and Batumi, and it really, there's people that died as a result because they couldn't get access to them, and they had to get private people to come and start
Dude,
plowing and stuff.
in like Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, there's like some pictures, some videos. Some
Yeah,
of this snow accumulation is like 8, 9, 10, 14
yeah,
stories high.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we don't have it. I don't want to, for copyright reasons, I don't want to like show any of that stuff. But if you guys can Google it, obviously. We'll post a lot of that stuff in the main channel in Telegram. You guys can see it there. Um, yeah, but I mean, basically, this is a result of, like I said, of affecting of commerce. And I said that this was going to happen. I predicted that we would see unseasonably cold winters and huge snowfalls as a result of a solar minimum that we're headed to by 2027, 2030. We were at a solar maximum 2 or 3 years ago, and we're actually heading away from that. So I said that this was going to be a result of solar maximum, solar minimums. I don't care about the climate change people or advocates or whatever. The reality is that your weather and this planet on this little rock, if you believe that it's a sphere, circular, object or if it's flat Earth, but the sun has a lot to do with weather. So does the moon. So as a result, the solar flares and the solar cooling and heating cycles with solar minimums and maximums affects the weather, especially in the winter and summers. And this is going to affect, like I said, what we're seeing. And I said that this was going to happen, but yeah, so us get to the gas, the current gas storage situation in Germany. So basically, gas storage levels are currently at approximately 39.5%. This is as of January 21st. Under the current weather conditions, storage is depleted at a rate of about 1% per day. Projections indicate that the levels will reach the critical 30% threshold by early February. Below 30%, gas extraction becomes problematic due to dropping pressure and pure storage facilities, preventing full removal of working gas. And this is a potential crisis, like I said, because this potential crisis triggers and stages a situation where during untimely cold snaps and like I said, what we're seeing in Europe and Eastern in Russia and the Caucasus, um, this could trigger alarm stage and an appeal where consumers reduce usage slightly. This will affect commerce, economic activity, as well as possible health concerns as a result of homes not being able to heat efficiently. Um,
The
yeah,
question is like, can they even afford it? Like, as far as I
no,
understand,
it's
like
cost.
that's the issue, right? Like I heard, and this was in 2022 or 23, I believe it was 23, um, where a friend of mine who is well connected in Germany was talking about like poverty deaths. That is to say, people that after the Nord Stream was cut off, German prices for gas went like doubled, tripled, and they were importing gas from LNG carriers from
Hmm.
America, and then
Yeah, those
some
big
some from
golds.
Poland,
Yeah.
some from Norway, right? And this made gas so much expensive, and a percentage of the population could not afford it. They were resorting to firewood. They were trying to use
Hmm.
firewood to stay warm,
Yeah.
and so it's like, okay, uh, now this is like what? How is this even possible? That is to say, what, a few snowstorms, and like Europeans are again on the verge of freezing.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happened. This is part of, like I said, hashtag collapse 2025. Like I was saying, this is what happens. This is what happens when you embargo, when you do tariffs, when you destroy your infrastructure as a result of like crazy climate change agendas. Um, you know what I mean? Green New Deal type stuff where you're using windmills to create energy when obviously at 0 Celsius. They shut down because they'll destroy the internal components within the engines. They won't work. We saw this with Texas with the big freeze they had, where the solar mills shut down, and there was blackouts and brownouts. I mean, the reality is that it's just incompetent leadership and then crazy agendas for this climate change crap that is not real. Like global warming is not real. It's
It's a
it's just
scam. It's
it's
a
a scam.
scam.
It's a grift.
Yeah.
It's already grift. And I mean, I'm not going to talk too much on it, but I mean the reality is that this is a direct result of self sanctioning, self embargoes as a result of the Ukrainian Russian conflict, due to like faking gay agendas and leadership that's just it is what it is, woke agendas. Um, Now the thing is who benefits from this? The United States benefits for this because they, like you said, they have these like big balls they put on these ships full of like liquid LNG, and they ship them over the Atlantic, which is very inefficient, and they sell it at high prices to Europe. So Europe, I think we covered this about a year ago, that Europe is paying like 4 or 5 times what gas costs in the United States for energy, and their energy consumption has decreased. It's affected the German economy. They can't run industry or manufacturing as a result of this, and it's affecting not withstanding what happened in Spain a year ago, where the entire country went into a blackout. The entire grid went down. as a result of the windmills and the different types of technology that they were trying to implement. So,
They have to. It's such a big scam because the windmill, right? And they want to build hundreds of these over like uh, like the UK is investing heavily in this, and so is
yeah.
Germany. It's almost as though like I don't know. Have you ever heard about the Morgenthau plan?
I have not heard of it, but this is a direct result. Also, what we started with the silver prices. This is why silver prices are skyrocketing because of Green New Deal, because of this agenda. That's why I said these predictions that I give you guys, you could take them, you can make money from them, profit. I'm not giving you financial advice, but I'm just giving you the geopolitical terms and the futurism and future predictions, and you can take it with what you will. But go
So
ahead. What
like
were you saying?
the amount of investment that is being put into all of these green energies in Germany and the UK and whatnot almost looks as though the consequence will be the Morgenthau plan. Why? Because the windmills need high maintenance and they don't last very long. They last 5, 10 years and then they have to be replaced, which is too expensive. That is to say, what is the consequence? Higher energy prices. Higher energy prices, which, like, by the way, these windmills, like the blades, are made out of carbon fiber, sorry, not carbon fiber. They're made out of like fiberglass, and fiberglass cannot be like thrown in the trash. It's like hazardous, so it has to be buried in like a
Mhm.
desert somewhere in designated government areas for it, and it like can't be put anywhere else. It's like polluting and whatnot. Um, this It's not long-lasting infrastructure. It lasts much less than a gas plant. And ultimately, the Morgenthau plan in the 1944-45 was basically designed by like a Jew in like the West, and it was
Mhm.
basically a plan to deindustrialize Germany after the war to make them a peaceful nation. This would entail that they will have no industry or barely any industry, and will be a mostly agricultural country. And
Uh,
if you extrapolate the electricity prices
mhm.
alongside the absent intention, it's an absent intention to make energy cheap for Germans and Europeans in general. It looks like they want to bring them down to a very lowly state of being, like Puerto Ricans or
Yeah,
Haitians. They want to
I
bring
understand.
like no electricity society.
I mean, it goes back to like World War One, World War Two with the Van Nuys was a peace deal, where they were just trying to basically deindustrialize Germany after World War One, and this led up to the rise of the Austrian painter. And then after World War Two, there were sanctions and suppression. So it does, like I said, history often rhymes. It often repeats. It seems to repeat itself, and it's the same thing that we're seeing with Russia and Soviet Union collapse, and the same thing. It's just this goes back to what I was talking about with Trump's policy, the Monroe Doctrine, and the American imperialism, and the global homo agenda that basically America's corporation. And the corporations, the goal of the corporation is to what? Is defeat your enemy, the art of the deal. You know, you basically want to just suppress your competition, counter them, and monopolize on profits. And that's basically the last final statement I'm going to give on this particular podcast. I don't know. You have any final statements you want to make?
Um, yeah, just beware that the tools for monitoring all of their operations and the resolution that they have on every single individual cell that partakes in this huge project that they're building. When I say they, I mean to say the people around Trump, the people around Putin and whatnot. They have so much data and a high amount of precision of it. And it's if any one of these individual cells steps out of line, when I say cell, I mean to say individual human beings steps out of line, they are gonna continue to turn up the heat on those who don't submit to the ever-changing line that gets more and more philosemitic, and it gets more and more, less independence for economic sovereignty
Mhm.
or having any degree of economic independence in the system. So it's a tight leash on everyone, and we are giving them the leash every time that we give them information. We have to severely limit how we use our electronic devices and what software we're using if we ever want to have a chance to be less monitored by them. Let them have as least as information on you as possible.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. That's like Meta. I mean, you're just giving your willfully giving all your information, and like with MySpace, Facebook, so on and so forth. It's on you if you're going to give people your information. I honestly, when I was on Facebook like 10, 15 years ago, I was like, this is a stalker platform. This is like women were like these women were like putting their locations where they're going to be. Like, they're going to go here, they're going to go there. And it's like, I wrote my female friends. I was like, dude, you shouldn't be sharing that information publicly on your profile. Someone could it's not safe. You know what I mean? And the UK, there was they posted a public service announcement about that, where like people were sharing photos of their children and like this, and he was like, the guy was like given all the information read directly from their Facebook post and page, some stranger, and it was just so scary and like just like schizo, commercial, and it was a public service announcement. It's like, yeah, I mean, you're freely giving your information to strangers and people to like set you up
And
for
yeah,
stalking.
those people are gonna, like, they are not gonna care at all. The government will try to put you back in line. Like, you will
Yeah,
like be told, hey, get the fuck back in line or we're gonna punish you, right?
yeah.
But these people, this like individual citizens who are extorters, scammers, they are just gonna ask you, give us money or else right now.
Yeah, that goes like final thought. I mean, that goes into like the ransomware and stuff like that. That like the with the pipelines, the gas pipelines in America that happened, I think 2 years ago, where they
Yeah.
shut down gas lines because of the result of like ransomware. And this is what we will see in the future if there's a World War III type scenario technologically. Is you will see ransomware, you'll see shutdowns, um, all kinds of problems. So like the fact that they can't even, we're not even dealing with this right now, and the fact that they can't even plow streets and roads in Tbilisi, Moscow is full of snow, and it's causing interruptions with commerce and different things. And in Germany, the people are about ready to freeze to death because they can't get access to energy resources. I mean, this is happening right now in real time, and we haven't even hit the peak of the iceberg, so to speak, in regards to efficiencies and pitfalls as a result of any type of like digital madness and craziness in regards to yeah, homogeneity, the tech and AIs.
Yeah, just one final note, one final comment. The CEO of Telegram doesn't use the phone. He doesn't carry around the phone because it's a permanent geolocation tracking device. So he's an important person. If for any reason anybody wants to um, just like have his location at all times, it can be quite easy.
Yeah, 100
This gives
percent.
him the opportunity to, like, let's say he's in a convoy, right? He can hide in like one of the vehicles, and the convoy can disperse, and they can't really know which vehicle he is in because they don't have his geolocation stuff.
Yeah, that's the main thing is anonymity, and then trying to keep your information secure. That's going to be the biggest trend, I think, for 2026. That you brought
And
that up.
it's gonna be few that do it. It's like not too many
Yeah,
people are interested. They don't realize, they
yeah,
have no clue how harmful this is. It's like,
yeah,
okay, dude, like give them more rope, give them more rope. Let's see what they're gonna use that rope for you. Yeah.
yeah. All right, I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, go to locals. I have all the archived information on there, podcast, lectures, all kinds of stuff for you guys. I got my book is published on there, Unleash Your Inner Sigma Male, And that's about it. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, Mad Max is he's got a little cold as a result of the big freeze, and hopefully he'll be joining us next Wednesday for Liberty Report on the 28th of January. That'll be the last Liberty Report for the month of January. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Thanks, Swin, for joining us, and good night.
All right.